Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She comes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying.
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm your host, Josh Guesman, coming to you on a Thursday, August 17th. The LA Galaxy getting ready to return on Sunday night. But Hurricane Hillary might have something to say about that. We'll be wet and wild in Los Angeles as Real Salt Lake comes to town to play again. League is back. LA Galaxy have new players that they have to put into the lineup. We're going to talk about that. The official signing of Billy Sharp, we already talked about it on Thursday, or on Monday night. But we're going to get you now ready for what is coming for the LA Galaxy down this last 12 games. Do they have enough points? Can they get to the playoff line? We got a lot to get to in order to help me do that. We're glad to have him back from the great state of Texas. It's Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric, how's it going, buddy? You have to have your, like, you got a fast draw. Yeah. I mean, it's a hurricane, Eric. I'm not sure that's a good thing. I don't know that it was chill today. I know that there were a lot of people who will probably say, it was warm. I know that they said it was 96 in Burbank. I was in LA and it was like 81. So I was like, that's not horrible. So I don't know what's going on with the Burbank folk, but like normal, they're a little crazy, a little out there. Why no sound from you at all? Okay, hold on. I got you. Okay, hold on. Just everybody relax. Don't worry. I blame the internet, but it's not. We were busy BSing. Hold on one second. Okay, now Eric. Now
have you tried turning it off and back on again?
Okay.
We're gonna see if the chat cooperates with us.
Yeah, they're going to. I can see it
Bang!
over there too.
No, okay.
No,
I was going to say that we could make sound effects. I could get my whistle.
People are trying to blame Chris Klein, one for the internet being down last time, which so far so good. I have been checking it all day, and two for you being on mute. Welcome for the great state of Texas, Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric, how's it going, buddy?
Pew, 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 rootin' and tootin' straight from 106 weather. See. I don't know if I like that intro better or not. It didn't feel as genuine. Felt a little morning zoo. I don't know. You're kind of into that, though. Maybe it plays.
From the great state of Texas, Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Nope. Maybe?
Pew, pew,
okay.
pew.
Okay. Just wanted to check. All right.
Oh, man. I really hope this all stays in. Because if
I'm not cutting it out.
If they're not turning it off at this point, that's how you know we got the diehards. We're still in the room. Have you been, man? I don't think I've seen you in what is it, 3 weeks now? 4 weeks? 5 weeks?
I don't know.
I think Messi's won a World Cup, lost a World Cup.
I don't know. Well,
scored 12 goals. Yeah.
We went from it's funny because we're returning to league play, right? And that means that Inter Miami is still the worst team in Major League Soccer for the time being, right? It's this weird Inter Miami is getting ready. They have now torn through the entire League's Cup. They play Nashville on Saturday. You have Philadelphia playing Monterey for the third place. And by the way, we've talked about it. Top 3 positions get CCL. So the winner of that third place game actually gets a CCL spot. So there's something to play for there, which, by the way, really smart to have the third place game decide the CC, because now both teams are like, I want to be in CCL, so that's
you
gonna
have
be
stakes.
something.
Yeah. That's a funny thing. I was texting about it with another group, and they were saying, oh gosh, there's a third place game that, this Leagues Cup is the most bizarre tournament. But when you mention that little Easter egg, Champions Cup. Did you say Champions Cup or did you say Champions League? Because it is now the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, C squared, the triple C.
I'm not there yet. It's going to take me a little while.
C word. Yeah, we'll just call it the C word, and then
Okay.
people will figure it out.
Yeah, that's right.
But people vying for the third spot in the C word. But yeah, I think that it does give it some stakes. And Galaxy flaming out aside, I think it's been entertaining to see how Messi has kind of done his thing, and then the narrative of Liga MX and kind of their teams and everything that's gone through. So, I think if we're going to hem and haw, and I think your Galaxy diehards are not happy with it, but I think the neutrals and MLS and Liga MX is going to look at this and look at it as a positive. I think the away games for the Mexican League is something that they're probably going to want to revisit. But in terms of, the viewership, you talked about Apple numbers and how they've increased their subscribers and everything that's happening there. Messi just keeps scoring goals every time you go to watch him to see, is this going to be the game where there's a let up? It doesn't stop. He keeps going through. And so, if you're a betting man, you just bet Messi anytime goal. And, you just print free money at that point. That's a better investment than some stocks and some NFTs at this point. So I think it's been entertaining from that perspective. So I'm curious to see how that third game is going to play out, because there are going to be some stakes to it. And of course, the final, can he cross the finish line after Messi kind of tearing everyone else? Is he going to be able to lift silverware before even playing one game in regular season play? It's going to be kind of interesting.
I love the Nashville Miami matchup. I love Nashville. Getting past Monterey, doing that whole thing, and then you see now this cool sort of matchup that you have. In Geodis Park, so it's in Nashville, right? So that'll be interesting. I think Messi on the road at a very big soccer-specific stadium. I think it's the largest soccer-specific stadium in Major League Soccer. So they'll have a full house there, and it's not going to be all pro Miami. Now, a lot of people are going to go, listen, that place would have been sold out whether Messi was there or not for this game, right? Because that's a very good fan base. Having said that, you put Messi in there, and there's going to be lots of people in yellow shirts who are there happy that they're also seeing Lionel Messi on the other side. And there's this argument going on. Well, is Messi tearing up the league a good thing for Major League Soccer? Didn't he do that everywhere he's gone? I'm sorry. Let me check this. Let me roll it back. Wasn't he the greatest of all time before he got the MLS? I couldn't.
I think two things can be true simultaneously, because some of the way that he has gone through, and some goalkeeper play and defender play has looked iffy
Suspect?
at best.
Yes.
Suspect is probably a better word to use. But we also remember 8 months ago, the guy won a World Cup on the grandest stage against a French national team who probably could have gone back to back in terms of world titles. And he did it against them. So was the French national team defense, would you call them a bunch of bums that they were, they got taken to overtime by Messi?
League.
I don't know that you could say that. So
Farmers League. That's what that French national team plays in a Farmers League. That's why.
Yeah. Fun times. So
okay. Anyway,
it's one of those. I think both things can be true. Some of the goals and some of the defending has been suspect. But if you watch the Premier League this weekend too, there were some teams. I watched Luton Town, absolutely pass the ball directly into a Brighton, forward to bury it. So you see bad defending everywhere you go, even in some of the top leagues in the world. It is what it is.
Absolutely. So, it's gonna be fun to watch. I imagine a lot of people listen. This is why the Galaxy are playing on Sunday. This is all the leagues games are pushed to Sunday. The Leagues Cup finals, the third place game and the final, are being played on Saturday, and they didn't want any league games getting in the way of Leagues Cup. I know that's difficult, but that's why the LA Galaxy might have to contend with sideways rain, and I don't know. I'm guessing anywhere between a half an inch up to 5 or 7 inches. They're saying right now for rain.
That's wild. That does not sound like California weather. That is not normal.
We'll see where, particularly the deserts that they're worried about in the southeast of California, we are going to see a lot of rain. That's for sure. So we'll see how much it filters up. We'll talk about the weather here a little bit more. And yeah.
I was going to say, pro tip.
Yes.
It's Thursday, maybe Friday. If you have Amazon Prime, get a poncho. They're like $5, or even go to Walmart. Poncho, good investment. As someone who's recently spent some time in Florida, you won't regret having a poncho on you. It doesn't cost anything, doesn't take up a lot of space, and you can still go about your time at Dignity Health Sports Park on Sunday. So my recommendation: get yourself a cheap poncho.
I'm pretty sure a poncho is good for Florida. It's just like a prophylactic. You gotta keep yourself separated, right?
Yeah.
You need a barrier between you and Florida at all times. That's what I think.
I was gonna say it's like Vegas. It doesn't stay there. It definitely comes back with you. Or not like Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like Vegas. It's like Vegas. It
that's true.
definitely
That's
comes back.
Also
to
true.
That's a lie too. So, but anyway, all right. Let's get to some of the LA Galaxy news that broke. Of course, we had a show on Monday night. On Tuesday, we confirmed it on Thursday. We talked about it on Monday and confirmed it again on Monday. We told you Billy Sharp was coming as an LA Galaxy player. I will once again beat my head against the desk who says anybody who doesn't understand this does not get how contracts work, we always talk about how much is the contract worth? How long is it for? Give me reasons how do you evaluate any player, right? Because it's like, oh, well, we got Lionel Messi and we paid $50 million. Pretty good deal. Not bad, right? It's like, hey, good job. Good job for you, right? It's like, oh, we got Jermaine Jones and he cost us $7 million. Well, that sounds like too much for Jermaine Jones. I don't know why you would want to pay for that, but I like to cause wounds and pain for LA Galaxy fans by bringing up Jermaine Jones.
I was going to say, if people didn't turn it off after our opening audio issues, they're definitely turning it off now. But to the Billy Sharp of it all, how many times in this chat on Twitter and were people screaming, we need a striker, Joveljic isn't cutting it, Judd isn't cutting it, and we get the record setter for most goals in the English Championship, and people are upset about it. But I will say, I think that's there's more people that may be a smaller group than I think people realize. I think people like to zero in the people who complain, but I think if you look on a whole, I think there's probably more level-headed people who say this is what the Galaxy need. They needed a striker. They needed someone, the flashy signing wasn't there. The obvious answer is the Neymars and the Zlatans and the Messis. Like, that's, of course, you want those players. But I think there's something about like the shrewd business of getting, a killer in a lower league like a Championship who's proven to have done it. My little kind of amateur scouting always goes to whenever they have those UEFA Nations League qualifiers. Don't look at the League A where you have Croatia and France and Spain. Look at League like C where you have Moldova and Malta, and then who's the leading scorer there? Right, that's probably the guy who you can get at a bargain and can probably do well in Major League Soccer. So I think this kind of fits in that. It's not the obvious answer, but I think you saw the people who are Sheffield supporters on Twitter saying you're getting a good player, maybe the legs aren't all the way there, but he's still got a lot to give. Isn't that we've heard that story so many times with people who come to MLS and have success. Yeah, maybe the legs aren't all the way there at 37, but someone who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. What do the Galaxy need? They need that. So give me that. So I'm very happy with this move.
There's a couple things that I think fall into the concerning category. One is visa and timing, right? And so 12 games left, won't make it this one. 11 games left. Will he make it in time for 11 games, 10 games? I think, 10 and on is sort of what I'm guessing is eventually going to be visa. The other thing is he had an off season, right? He was off season. He's not game fit, game ready, that type of thing. But having said that, the way the Galaxy are probably going to use him, probably only needs to be 15 or 20 minutes game ready, right? Because I don't think he's a starter. He may work his way into that by the end, and if they have to. But I was very specific, and we talked about this. The LA Galaxy are giving Dejan Joveljic this shot. This is his shot. He has 12 games to prove that he's a starter and he can score goals. And I'm not saying something's going to happen to him if it doesn't happen, right? But this is a shot. They've specifically gone and not put a DP striker in there. They have not gone out and replaced him. They're giving him a shot at it.
Which maybe the options were limited. Maybe the DP striker wasn't, necessarily available. I'll play devil's advocate and go. I'll zag the other direction. Is that Joveljic has had his shot, and so maybe Billy Sharp, you say this is a guy who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. maybe he is being brought in to start and kind of salvage the season. And yeah, he's had an off season and he's not quote unquote game fit,
right.
But this is a professional soccer player who knows who's been around the game and knows how to play. And he's not going to probably need, he needs 2 months to warm up. No, he's a professional player. I doubt he went that far off the rails in the offseason that he's not going to be somewhat close to game shape or salvageable. He knew there was a season coming up in Europe, so he has to have, doing something in his regimen. So I think the counter argument can be maybe he is being brought in to start, and this is Joveljic, is going to have to be coming off the bench, and maybe in the offseason they reevaluate. If Sharp doesn't bang in goals for these last 12 games, then maybe Joveljic gets another shot and gets another opportunity. But, I think the argument can be made that Joveljic has had his shot.
Yeah, I've said it many times, right? But yeah. I a lot of times tell you what I think, and my opinions on things, and I will tell you. I will also tell you what I think the Galaxy think. What the Galaxy think right now is that Joveljic still has plenty to give. We know, quite honestly, I still believe he has plenty to give. We've seen where he's been put in positions. We know he can hit bang. It's just when will they start going in? And if one goes in, will others follow, right? It's that cascade effect. And if that doesn't happen, they're going to have a guy like Billy Sharp in there that can play. And I think that he'll be more than serviceable in that position, whether it's a sub or whether it's starting. And you're right. Maybe he works himself into starting spot and Joveljic comes in off the bench, which is where Dejan has had the most success anyway, right? So they've given themselves options without tying themselves down to anything. They don't have to keep Sharp past next season. But quite honestly, if he bangs in a whole bunch of goals and so you don't want a 38-year-old super sub depending on the price, right? We always say depending on the price. Yeah. You don't want a 38 super sub that sits on the bench and that comes in and bangs in, he's
and just has a knack for scoring. I know that gets thrown around a lot, but if you look at his highlights, he just knows how to be in the right place at the right time. The reason I bring up that fun fact about him being the record holder for most goals in the English Championship, I think back to Javier Hernandez, Chicharito. He's Mexico's leading goal scorer. That's not nothing. And
right.
when he came to the Galaxy, yeah, maybe his legs were behind him, but he still had something to give. He still had a knack for finding where to be and being in the right spot to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think that's what Billy Sharp could do here as well. So the other side of this is to the Joveljic point. Can be right now, you said, if one comes, maybe the other one comes, but right now they're not coming. So it's definitely between the ears for Joveljic. There's a mental aspect that he's struggling with. So with someone with the experience that Sharp has, who's probably been in slumps and, played in train stations and lower fields and then the heights of the Premier League as well, maybe you need someone like that to serve as a mentor for Joveljic as well. So maybe it's not all about the production that he's going to bring on the field. You need someone to help Joveljic get his head right. So it's almost like an investment in Joveljic as well by bringing in, an older mentor who's going to be able to maybe get him in the right headspace moving into next season.
That was specifically spelled out that even if he doesn't play, they still think he's an asset, right? It's one of those. It's like, even, and I know people hate it whenever you talk about like, oh, well, the guys are like managers or they're like coaches who play on the field. That's still important. And I think it's something the Galaxy have been missing for most of this year. Victor Vasquez, yes, with legs, and it wasn't all there. Sasha Kleshin, certainly, those types of things. But we talked about that for seasons, about how those guys would hold that together and how they brought things together for that LA Galaxy side. They need a little bit more of that, and I think this is it. Maya Yoshida fits that as well, right? And a guy, by the way,
100%.
Yoshida in his press conference, I don't think I got to it, but said one of the main reasons he came to LA, because he said he could have played somewhere, he could have played other places, but one of the main reasons he came to LA is the style of play. That he loves the pass, that he loves to play the ball out of the back. And he says that doesn't get played in Germany and they don't play that way. And he goes, and so he was missing that. And that was one of the main reasons he came. And if we remember, there were stats that sort of showed him not a great passer. And you're like, well, if he's not a great passer, why'd they go out and get him? Well, he wasn't in a system that passed, right? Either. So if you look at him like on the national team and some other things, there's a better indicator that he can play out of the back and he can do those things, right? So just little things like that. So Maya Yoshida, let's talk about that real quick. Let's see. Did I have it? I know I clipped it, Eric. I always clip. Oh, I got it. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. But the LA Galaxy announced on, let's see, what's today? The 17th? So yesterday, that Maya Yoshida has received his P1 visa. So right around the turnaround time that I think we're expecting for Billy Sharp. puts it in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's a UK passport, which is usually pretty quick, right? I don't know how Maya got into the country. He might have a German one, he might have a Japanese one, the whole deal. The guy speaks like probably 7 languages or whatever. Once again, making me feel completely out of shape, inferior, and old. Thanks. And he's an old player, right? Because he's an old guy, and I'm still way older than him, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, those days are gone for us. Yeah.
It was so nice.
The veteran players were no longer on that level.
It was so nice being a young guy and being the same age as the guys, and now I'm just like, hi, I'm old. It's nice to see you. So anyway, so that was in there, and so Maya Yoshida available for Sunday. I expect that he plays. In fact, I would be really surprised if he doesn't start. So that's one of those things that happens probably this weekend if the LA Galaxy play this weekend, and we'll see if that actually happens. By the way, one of the worst things that could happen, and one of there's a couple reasons why they might cancel the game, and this is just, I'm not saying anybody's told me anything. They haven't, but this is the reason. A couple reasons they might cancel the game: lightning. Or if there's so much water and so much that's a hazard to even be at the stadium or something like that, they would cancel or move the game.
It turns into a drainage situation. I think no one wants to watch the game being rolled around, and I think that's why the initial game at the Rose Bowl was moved. It's not necessarily the weather that it wouldn't be totally playable. It's what it would do to the field and the surrounding areas and how that would impact the game. And I think, you're right. If there's lightning, then obviously, that's a hazard to the fans. You're going to have to cancel it. But if it turns to where the surface is going to be just absolutely ruined, then you have to take that into consideration as well. So curious to see how it's all going to go. We went from excited, we're back, to, hey, we might not have a game. This is beginning of the season all over again.
It feels that way. By the way, I don't know if I got to it. Did I talk about Philip's super chat of the $2? And he said $2 to help pay the internet bill? Okay, good. Thanks, Philip. We appreciate it. So far so good. I mean, listen, I saw Spectrum trucks on the street as I was coming in, and I'm sure some of you might be like, oh, well, you should have been excited to see the trucks. And I was just like, oh no, that's never a good thing. That means something's broken. Side. Yeah. That's
someone made the call because something is going wrong. That's something that you see around my neck of the woods, because there's a lot of construction. Whenever you see, a lot of construction happening, or, the new homes being built, you better expect some power lines to be cut or water to be affected or your internet, something's going to happen when you have that much action happening around your area.
Yeah. It's, again, just to tell you like the drop in the internet signal and what happened on Monday, I normally have like almost 40 megabits per second on the upload side of things. So plenty. You basically, if you have like 3 to 5, you can do a live stream show, right? So plenty. And I was getting below 1 whenever we were doing the show, and I was like, there's nothing I can do to fix it. I had a full house of people downstairs. I'm like, turn off the internet stuff. Let me get there, right? By the way, $10 super chat from Patrick. Thank you, COG, back in action somewhat. I was up at 3:30 this morning trying to get the oldest onto an airplane at like 6:45. So that's always fun. Good times.
That's a fun time. Yeah. But shout out to Patrick in the chat as well. I was active in the chat at the very beginning. So, it's nice. I missed you guys. Good to see everyone back. So nice to see everything kind of up and humming again. Have we wrapped up the Billy Sharp piece of it? Billy Sharp's over with. I wanted to give one shout out to Andrea Ripas on Twitter, who I retweeted this. It said, "Am I the only one who hears a Billy Sharp chant in my head similar to Jamie Tart from Ted Lasso?" So I'm just going to put that out there, and not have people listen. Billy Sharp, do 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 do. Billy Sharp, do do do. I think that could definitely be a thing.
Is that Baby Shark too?
It's Baby Shark.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Sorry, I had flashbacks.
Baby Shark was a banger back in the day. 4 or 5 years ago. I'm right there with you. But I'm all on board. So shout out to Andrea who put that out there. And for the people who make noise in the stadium.
It's always good.
That's my humble suggestion and recommendation for you.
Speaking of humble, I am like the most humble person on this show, right? All the time. I'm always deferring to everybody else.
You're the guy who's on every single show and make sure that you're here. And if there's no you, there's no show. So
I mean,
absolutely.
Super humble.
I feel the humility. Yeah,
super humble. I whenever I say things, I rarely say I told you so, except every time. I don't like to go at people who have stupid ideas, except most of the time. So really, I'm a pretty listen. Coming from me, I'm telling you how humble I am. I am super humble. But I just
I'm the humblest guy you know.
Yeah, I just like to say I told you so, and pay attention whenever I tell you things. All right, I saw everybody getting their pantyhose all worked up into little tiny knots, being upset that Ricky Puig liked a tweet that showed that he needed to go somewhere else and that he was off to Europe. And then there were rumors, by the way, completely BS rumors, that he was off to, he's going to Europe this way. What did I tell everybody? I said, no. I said this was all about a liked tweet. Stop worrying about liked tweets from Ricky Puig. He likes things. And people were arguing, he's actually very selective about the things. No, he likes to be nice. Okay? So stop listening to Ricky Puig. Okay, whenever he likes a tweet, just because. And so Tom Bogert put out today, he says, LA Galaxy head coach and sporting director Greg Vanney to The Athletic on the future of Ricky Puig. Ricky is here for the long haul. He doesn't want to be anywhere else other than here. He's our guy that we continue to build around and build with. That's the future for Ricky. Now, you can all argue and say, well, that's Greg Vanney saying it. That's not Ricky Puig saying it. And I'm like, yeah, Greg Vanney ain't going out on that limb if Ricky Puig is like, sell me now, coach, I'm out. Every time I see Ricky Puig, every time I talk to Ricky Puig, I can tell you that he, at least for this moment, at least for this season, and certainly I believe in the next season, loves being in Los Angeles. Loves it. He loves the city. He loves playing for the LA Galaxy. He loves being the man on that team. 100%. He's bought in. He likes what they're doing. He wants to be more of an impact, I think. If you're looking for him, he really wants to carry that weight. And he can't do that at Barcelona, and he can't do that somewhere else right now, This is where he belongs, at least for the next year, right? At least for the next 24 or 12 months, 12 to 18 months, this is it. I don't want to go too far out on a limb. I also expect him eventually to leave.
I was going to say 24 hours. That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
But I'll back you up that what you do see in his style of play, and even the progression from last year to this season, you do see almost a movement into a leadership role and kind of putting the team on his shoulders. I've said it countless times on this show. I feel like he almost puts too much on his plate, but you could tell that's a skill that he's developing, is to be the man on the team and to be the player that people defer to. And you're right. With a move to a different European team, maybe he is not the man anymore. He's a cog in the machine, and then his role changes. And so does he enjoy, being the man, the big man on campus type of thing? Yeah, probably that's the case. The counterpoint that I will say is, what else is Greg Vanney supposed to say?
Yeah.
We're actively shopping him. We're trying to get a new home for him as soon as possible. He's not going to say that. They're going to say, Ricky's our guy. We love having him here, which they do. And then Ricky could also still want to go to Europe and still be receive, if there's interest coming from other clubs. Maybe it does, happen to the line. We've also said that several times this season with the lows that the Galaxy have had. The one player that's been the bright spot in many of these games has been Ricky Puig. So if he did happen to have an offer from a European team in the winter, I wouldn't be shocked if he went. And I don't think that makes the statement by Greg Vanney untrue, because I think he wants to keep him probably as long as possible. But it also is the lifelong adage that we've learned is that Twitter's not real life, and a like is not an endorsement. And sometimes it's just nice to like things, and things are funny. When you
he's also mischievous. Can we understand he's mischievous?
He's a sneaky bugger.
Yes.
We need a Sophie on the show for that one. I don't have the right inflection to say that. Yeah.
I'll get her to record it. We'll put it as a drop. But no, I mean, the other part about this is that I fully expect the LA Galaxy to show him the money this winter, right? I mean, this is the time when you extend him. You put him you give him 2 to 3 years, and you throw a whole bunch of money at him. He gets to be one of the highest paid players in the league, quite honestly. And that's if you want to keep him, because he's young and you can hold him. If you have that sort of his backing, it'll cost teams more money to come and get him if he wants to go, right?
Yeah,
but you need to pay him the money.
Yeah, I don't know if he's highest paid player in the league level, but he definitely deserves a raise when you look at what he's making. And then I think, to your point, if another club is going to come in and take him, then they're going to have to match, and they're going to have to make it interesting, because I think right now it almost is too easy for another club to come and match what he's making. And so the Galaxy is in a point where, if the contract's not up, renegotiating and making sure that he's taken care of. Because if he's their guy, like they say he is, then you want to make sure that he's compensated and he feels as such. Because right now, especially with Brugman, being out, the way the season is going to finish is going to be the way Ricky Puig plays. It's good if he has a nice run, then the Galaxy are poised to make a nice run. If Ricky Puig is not having, the last 12 games of his career, then the Galaxy are not going to do well. So how he goes, the LA Galaxy go, and so we're going to see how much he means to this team, with all the other additions that are coming in as well.
Yeah. Again, I think they're going to show him the money. That actually makes sense for them to show him the money. That does mean that I think the LA Galaxy are going after one senior DP and one young DP, in my opinion. Did you break something over there already? It's okay. You don't have to answer.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. Like I said, it's been 3-4 weeks since we've last podcasted. Thanks a lot, LA Galaxy. Come on.
Yeah, I know, really. Philip, by the way, calling me out. Josh with the Taco Bell large drink. This is correct. I didn't get to eat all day. So, Eric, do you remember back in the day? You were with me. You were with me. I know you were about the same age. We're close enough. You go to Taco Bell after a soccer game or something like that, and you get the 6-pack of tacos. You get they had it in the carrying case, not just in the bag.
Okay,
they had it in the cardboard carrying.
I feel like there was more than 6. They used to sell like a 12-pack.
Yeah, I think there was a 6 and a 12.
You couldn't get a small amount.
Yeah. It was a whole bunch. But if you ever went to like a house party in college, sometimes you would go over, grab a couple 12-packs of tacos, toss them down, and everybody's like, "Hey man, he brought Taco Bell. That's cool." It was like a cool thing to do whenever you were going to a house party, that type of thing. I went today and I was like, I want 6 tacos because I hadn't eaten anything all day. Normally if I'm like eating lunch, it's like 2 tacos, right? But I'm like, I want 6 tacos. I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't eat lunch. I had a meeting that lasted until almost 6 o'clock up in LA. And then I had to drive back down here for this. I'm like, I want 6 tacos. And I knew they weren't going to give me the case for it because that case has not been around for a long time. Yeah. I was still disappointed when they handed me the bag. I was like, I wanted all 6 tacos in the carrying case.
Since we're telling fast food secrets here, I'm also always disappointed when you get like the box meal from Taco Bell and they don't give it to you in the box. That's always
it's supposed to come in the box.
Letdown as well. But yeah, and so to your point, since we're telling our secrets and we're off the rails already, I was in California earlier this week for a work trip, and what's one of the first places I go? It's Del Taco.
Del Taco. Yeah, I was going to guess. I was going to say a bikini barista, but I apparently not.
That's a whole different.
That's a different
podcast.
Okay, good.
But there's the holy trinity of, like you said, after a house party or a late night, it's Taco Bell, it's Del Taco, the special fries, and then Jack in the Box is the quintessential late night
mini tacos
to settle everything. You need a couple tacos in there.
Have you had the mini tacos from Jack?
The mini tacos, they do their job. They do what they're supposed to do.
I know it's crazy. By the way, Angelino 818 $2 super chat. New skateboard looks cool. Very Thrasher vibes. New skate deck coming out, which we'll probably all get ruined because it'll rain real hard. And that won't happen. Then Philip gave us another $2 super chat. Says, Josh, buy that 2-gallon jug at 7-Eleven for the next show. Hey, don't think I haven't hit that 7-Eleven whenever I was driving back and forth across the desert in college. Be like, oh, just get me a 2-gallon mug and just pop it there. And then you just have to stop for bathroom breaks. That's the only thing, Don't put too much ice in it because you don't want to get it completely watered down, right? It's always a nice
balance. Gotta get the ratio right. Yeah.
Let's go. All right, good. I got people ready to go to Taco Bell in the chat room. They're Ryan. Taco Bell, bring back the 6-pack. Why can't we have 6-pack? Put it in the cardboard box and let us hang. I wanted to bring it in and set it on the table.
Cheesy gordita crunch, can't go wrong.
Okay.
If you're feeling like you need to spice it up, that one hits every time.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. Good to know. Don't get their quesadillas. I'm always
disappointed. The sauce, it's all wrong.
It's all wrong.
Yeah,
we don't.
They get it all wrong.
On the next podcast, we're going to talk about Filibertos, Albertos, and all the different machinations that come out, and whether or not they know each other. Are they franchises? Are they were they family members? What is the difference? We had Filibertos around Arizona State, and you didn't hit Philly Bees until after 2 a.m. That was the rule. So
we were in Alberto's. Yeah, okay. Alberto's household.
Yes.
in this neck of the woods.
I mean, it's like the same, but it's not the same.
No,
but it's the same, but it's not the same.
You can order the same thing from each one of those places, but they are not the same.
They're not the same, but they're the same. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's continue on here. Going a little more serious, and the LA Galaxy put out a post reminiscing about the first MLS and U.S. Open Cup championships led by Siggy Schmidt. This is obviously a lead up to his Ring of Honor induction in the rain on a Sunday night. Buckets and buckets of rain that'll be coming down, but I think that's going to be one of the main reasons you're going to want to go to this game anyway, not to mention that it's quite honestly a matchup between two of the hottest teams that were in league play before league play stopped. But Real Salt Lake has been on a tear. Real Salt Lake played really well in the Leagues Cup as well. So we've watched them sort of get better and better. And certainly with the additions that they've made, this is going to be a really interesting matchup. And the LA Galaxy going for 3 wins in a row at home, and they haven't done that in like freaking forever. This is all in league. Remember, we have to throw away Leagues Cup and everything else that are in there. But Siggy Schmidt going to be there in the induction into the Ring of Honor. Yes.
Yeah, Siggy Schmidt is not going to be there, but
No.
it's Siggy Schmidt.
Yes.
He will be honored.
He'll be
the way you said that.
He'll be there in
off-putting.
spirit. I mean, I hope
they'll have the scarf there. Is right. They're giving out a scarf.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
So
Siggy Schmidt.
deserving. You talk about that Ring of Honor and someone who deserves. Talk about statues and retirements. Siggy Schmidt. When you talk about the Galaxy hierarchy, top of the mountain, I think there's too many big Galaxy names to do like a Mount Rushmore to narrow it down to 4. So you almost need like, we're going to etch it in the mountain, and there's going to be 5 to 10 names. Siggy Schmidt 1,000,000% deserves to be on that mountain.
That the ASO connections in Southern California alone put Siggy
UCLA,
Schmidt onto the mountain and all that stuff. So anyway, that's Siggy Schmidt and that induction, and then the LA Galaxy also reminding and partnering with all the other Los Angeles teams. Is basically they already donated $450,000 to the American Red Cross to help the people impacted by the the wildfires. Craziness, just absolutely nuts. I have very little perspective that I can give you on that, except that I've been obviously to Lahaina and I've been to Maui as a visitor, but those were people's homes. And so I feel like anything I say is can pale in comparison, but that city is no longer on the map.
It's heartbreaking. Yeah, because when you see it, especially when you go there and you realize it's, my family comes from an island that's of similar size, and you realize, especially when you live in a big state or a big city, like when you're on an island and it's tiny, it's small. And so when you have those places that are tourist attractions and places where people like to enjoy themselves, to see it all just poof, gone. It's really heartbreaking to watch. So, happy that, people are channeling, funds in the right direction. Hopefully it gets in the right hands and things they're able to rebuild and get things going in the right direction. Cause it was a shock to see it, the damage that was done to such a beautiful place.
Yeah, and once the capital of Hawaii was Lahaina, by the way. So it has a lot of history, a lot of historic buildings and all sorts of stuff. Redcross.org is where you can donate and help out with that as well. So please do that if you can. Back to a little more jovial notes here. Eric gave us a 10, not you, Eric, but a different Eric, an Eric with a K and not a C. Do you get angry at Eric's with a K? I just wanted to...
I would never get mad at this Eric because, he donated to the super chat. But yeah, it does make me upset whenever you give the Starbucks order and then it comes back spelled with a K.
Yeah.
What really, I'm going to make some people upset as well. It really makes me angry when they go CK.
What?
It's like pick K or pick C. Like, can't have both. Come on. What are we doing here?
Don't sit on the fence like you do on this podcast all the time. Eric with the $10 super chat, he's calling out. He's obviously saying we were talking about Taco Bell and really I almost said like Mexican food side of things, but really that's not what that is. Yeah, it's fast food, white people Mexican food, like that type of thing. He throws out In-N-Out, which of course is always a staple. I mean, it's a
different tier. There's like a time and place for everything. Taco Bell I would never rank above In-N-Out, but there's times in my life where you say, no, a Taco Bell is going to feel better than an In-N-Out at this moment. So it's all about kind of feeling the vibes of these different things.
Eric with a Q, is that one?
Eric Zavaleta is that
makes you angry.
That's a whole nother level right there. Yeah. So shout out to him. I actually almost respect it. That's a totally outside the box way of going.
Oh, I love it. Eric with a Q, so much fun. Yeah, In-N-Out. Listen, my money right now, the best value in fast food is In-N-Out. I swear to God, go to McDonald's and spend $14 and something cents on chicken nuggets anymore. Not that I do that all the time, but chicken nuggets. If I'm not here anymore, it's death by chicken nuggets. Just letting you know. But you do that. You go to In-N-Out, you can get a burger and fries and a drink, and you're out of there for like $7 or $8. It's still a great deal.
Still not bad.
Okay.
Still not bad. Even with animal style, you're at $10.
All right.
And you're still in good shape.
Are you ready to come crashing down to earth now that the LA Galaxy actually have to go back into a league in which Cincinnati has 51 points in the Eastern Conference?
I was going to say the listeners can read between the lines. There's a reason why we're talking about In-N-Out and Taco Bell.
I really don't want to get
all
there.
These other things because we do. The one thing we don't want to talk about is LA Galaxy soccer and the dread that has been, how they crashed out of Leagues Cup and just the the injuries and just the lack of getting things going. The last thing I want to talk about is LA Galaxy soccer. I'm here for the chat. I'm here to hang out with my friend Josh. I'm not here so much for the LA Galaxy soccer in 2023.
Let me remind everybody, LA Galaxy sitting 13 out of 14 teams in the Western Conference, currently at 22 points. That's 7 points below the line. Currently averaging 1 point per game, so 22 games. 12 games remaining, that makes 34. At this point, they will get 34 points. If everything plays out the way that it's sort of going, and it's probably listen, it will be. I'm guessing it's going to be more than that, right? So feel better about that. I don't think they're an average one, but the bottom line is that's where they sit right now. That's the reality of the situation, and I would love to show you where the LA Galaxy are in terms of the supporter shield, except that they're so far down the list, it won't fit on the page whenever I go do it, right? So
you know who they're above in the supporter shield?
Inter Miami.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, don't expect Inter Miami to stand still. So the race for the wooden spoon is once again on, right? So that's in there as well, which is another depressing sort of thing to put into perspective. But you have a team now with the LA Galaxy who are trying to integrate players, right? You have all the new players. So Tony Alfaro's already been playing, but you're going to have Maya Yoshida. You have Edwin Cerrillo, which is supposed to take over after Gaston Brugman. Now he's out for the rest of the season, so Cerrillo's going to be in there, and we get to sort of see what he's going to do. Diego Fagundez is an absolute 100% starter, especially in this formation, and I expect Douglas Costa to sort of be in the center along with Ricky Puig, or if they sort of move stuff around a little bit, getting Mark Delgado back because he should be good now from injury and everything. LA Galaxy holding press conference, I believe, tomorrow morning to get ready for the Sunday game. So we can sort of hear from Greg Vanny about what he's going to say about, everybody and where their readiness is for this. Pay attention on Friday morning. But you have that. Diego Fagundez, you have Michael Barrios, right? You have Maya Yoshida, I think I already talked about. Who else am I missing?
Billy Sharp. Well, Billy Sharp, we'll see. I don't know if he'll be available this weekend.
He won't be now, but yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned it. Barrios, Fagundez, Yoshida, and Cerrillo. Those were the main four, correct?
Alfaro,
is there a fifth?
Alfaro.
Alfaro.
Alfaro at the beginning, and then Billy Sharp at the end. Yeah.
So the one thing that, and again, I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth here. The one thing that can make me excited about this little home stretch mini season that the LA Galaxy have coming up is, we just named 4 players, possibly 5 players. If there are 11 starters on a field, that's almost half a new team. So this is almost going to be a completely different, brand new LA Galaxy team to watch. So the positive can be, if you didn't enjoy watching the first, 22 games,
right?
Maybe we're going to enjoy this. These last 12 will be a completely different team. And so maybe it will give us that opportunity to say, well, this is something to build on for next year, kind of like what we saw last season.
Right.
This is a player that is going to be worth keeping and not someone to watch for, because we said that about Brugman and Puig last season. These are guys who I'm excited to see a full season, to see what they can do, and they were bright spots this season. So maybe Fagundez, Cerrillo, Barrios, show themselves, or Yoshida, to be, these are the guys I'm excited to have a full season of next season. That's the exciting part, is you're going to get basically a brand new LA Galaxy team. They had basically an off season to rebuild. That's what it feels like. It's like a mini off season and a mini new season that we're going to kind of take this team for a test drive. So that's the exciting thing, is we're going to get to see what these players can do once they're out on the field.
Here's the crazy thing. I'm going to show you. I put up the lineup from the last time the Galaxy played against Vancouver. This was the Vancouver game inside of league play, not in League's Cup, right? So this is inside of league play. The last game, this is the one where Chris Mavinga had the worst 23 minutes probably in any defender's life. He
was concussed, to be fair.
We supposedly, allegedly. That's certainly, he went into concussion protocols afterwards. But just look at the lineup. So you had Jonathan Bond at the back, right? You have Caligari on the right. Those will stay. Kelvin Leerdam probably doesn't start, right? Because we're imagining that Maya Yoshida and Jalen Neal will start in the center back position. So that kicks out Leerdam and Mavinga. Mavinga's suspended for this game anyway, right? For the red card. Then you have Edwards in there, right? So Edwards will probably stay. Mark Delgado's been hurt. Now he might be ready to come back. So how do you fit him back in if you want to go with Fagundez and you want to go with Boyd, and Boyd is starting in this, and Douglas Costa is out on the wing, but Costa's probably going to play more central with Ricky Puig dropping out into those things. So you got Brugman's out for the rest of the season now, but he started this game, had a goal in it as well, by the way, right? So he had that. Where do you go with this team knowing that there are realistically three changes that you're going to make to the starting lineup that sort of really come in here and maybe solidify what team is going to look like for the next 12 games. And then, you throw Billy Sharp in there eventually as well. That changes things too. Significant number of players, and Cerrillo possibly coming in for Brugman. There's going to be significant changes. And this is after the LA Galaxy finally got into a very good rhythm before the break for Leagues Cup and sort of, outside of the game against Vancouver. They were moving in the right direction. Everything's good. So how much of this, Eric, do you feel is like a hard reset?
I think it feels like it's a pretty strong hard reset because...
Is it Control-Alt-Delete, or did they just yank the cord out of the wall at this point?
Yeah, I think they unplugged it and replugged it back in. It's the same machine,
right?
But maybe the little bugs and things that were causing some problems got cleared out, and we're gonna install some new software. I feel like I'm messing up my analogies.
I'm sure somebody will be like, that's not how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, that's definitely someone in IT is definitely going to come around and fix me. But it feels like a pretty strong reset. That's why I was saying it's going to be like a little mini season to see, basically I shout out to who mentioned in the chat. Robert mentioned in the chat. It's going to be the equivalent to the new look Lakers. So the Lakers made some pickups towards the end of the postseason, in the NBA season, postseason earlier this year.
Right.
It kind of has, he says it can be that feel. I don't have as much hope that the Galaxy are going to be able to make up enough points and make a playoff run, but I see the comparison, so I wanted to shout that out as well.
All right, let's get you your schedule. LA Galaxy versus RSL coming up on Sunday, supposedly, because quite honestly, they're now making, and I just got a text from a friend saying that they're forecasting that that Hurricane Hillary may still be a hurricane whenever it actually hits the Southern California coast. So we could be in for a little bit of a ride. You might listen. I'm not telling you to, but maybe go get some extra provisions just in case. This is going to be interesting, right? It's for sure. It's going to be heavy rain.
It's not gonna hurt to have an extra case of water
or
and some beans
or Modelo that type of thing. Only the essentials. So anyway, LA versus Real Salt Lake. LA hosting Chicago six days later, right? LA goes up to San Jose. Then we get into September, which is brutal. This is why you do not want this game to be canceled, is because there is no room to play any more games.
It's already tight, yeah.
It's already very tight. LA versus Houston, LA versus St. Louis. Again, more home games. LA at LAFC, LA versus Minnesota, LA at Austin, LA versus Portland. Again, a bunch of home games here. This is where the points can be picked up if you're going to do it. You have to win your home games. We've talked about it for seasons about winning home games, right? So then it's away at Seattle, away at Minnesota, and then home to Dallas, and that's just a brutal last October. And if they have to play another game in there somewhere, that sounds like a nightmare too. So,
and then another wrinkle that I wanted to point out with RSL is RSL has an Open Cup game on August 23rd.
Okay.
So they play 3 days after the game away at Dignity Health Sports Park. They go to Shell Energy Stadium and in Houston. So they're away at Houston 3 days after the LA Galaxy. And
sounds
that's
like
US Open Cup semifinal. So a little bit, if you're holding out hope and you're rooting for the Galaxy or thinking about, can they steal points here even as poorly as they've been playing? When you talk about silverware and kind of prioritizing your games late in the season, it could be a possibility that Salt Lake is going to want to save and rest their starters and their strongest lineup for that Wednesday semifinal Open Cup matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see the lineup that they roll out, because when you look at the players who are on the roster, Chicho Arango's on there, Diego Luna, Jefferson Savarino. These are players who have hurt the LA Galaxy in the past. And so are these guys going to be starters who are going to be making an impact in this game? If they're not, then the Galaxy have an opportunity to steal some points here at home.
LA Galaxy hosting Real Salt Lake coming up on Sunday. 7:30 p.m. is your start time. 7:39 is your kickoff time on Apple TV, MLS Season Pass. That one's behind the paywall. If we're looking at just the trends for these two teams, the last time Real Salt Lake lost, strangely enough, was actually quite a long time ago. It was whenever the LA Galaxy beat them 3-2, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 games ago was the last time the LA Galaxy beat Real Salt Lake. It was the last time they lost. Otherwise, they've won or tied all the way through, including a win the last time they were in leagues play, 3-1 against Red Bull New York. The other thing that sort of popped up is if you want to see how well they were playing as well, you have to go over to their Leagues Cup time. You look at the bracket. Whenever they finally got in the round of 32, they beat Leon, who the LA Galaxy had a chance at beating and didn't, but they beat Leon 3-1 and then went on to lose 4-0 to LAFC in the round of 16. Okay, we've already talked about the hurricane. We've talked about everything that's coming. So the rain is significant. It is real. It will play a part in this game. Don't think for a second that it won't play a part in this game. It's going to be a factor. And I almost wonder, and you were correct, Eric, saying, well, how seriously is RSL going to take this, right? And then you add in the rain and everything else. I mean, the rain may actually give the LA Galaxy a great chance at coming through to this as well, because playing in the rain is tiring, it's exhausting, and you're always worried about getting hurt. I don't think the LA Galaxy have to worry about getting hurt for the rest of the season because it does not matter. It's full throttle. You just go, I
was going to say, you switch injuries off in FIFA to make sure no one gets hurt. But Patrick he corrected me. He said, we don't steal points at home. And I guess that's fair as well. Right. You're supposed to win at home. But yeah, the rain already, could have, leveled the playing field given that the Galaxy hasn't had a lot of time to gel. But, I think there are a lot of factors playing in the Galaxy's favor heading into this game.
By the way, Alan calls me out. Josh, why is it okay for you to call Billy Sharp Billy, but calling Mark Delgado Marky is out of bounds? Because Mark Delgado asked to be called Mark. That's why. And he's a grown man. Billy, I guess, can do whatever he wants. He's English. He can do whatever he wants. I don't have that. Billy,
I think it depends on if Billy scores like a 30-yard banger, that's Mr. William Sharp, Sir William Sharp,
right? And
then if he taps one in off his shin guard, it's like that's a Billy Sharp goal. So I think we could have distinctions here as well.
Okay, good. And just is that like Douglas and Doug?
Douglas and Doug,
yeah.
I've played this game.
Okay.
Yeah, we're noticing a pattern here.
Okay, Sir William, sir. Very good. Let's see. Just going over some of the notes that they had. LA Galaxy and Real Salt Lake each have 3-2 wins over each other this season. With the Galaxy winning a league match in May and RSL winning a U.S. Open Cup match in June. Both in Utah, the Galaxy have won 9 of their last 12 home matches against RSL, drawn 2, lost 1. Dating back to July 2014. They also talk about with victories over both the last season's MLS Cup finalists, LAFC and Philadelphia, the Galaxy have won consecutive regular season home matches for the first time since July-August 2022. The Galaxy last won 3 straight home matches in July-August 2021, with the third win in that run coming against Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake is also unbeaten in 9 straight regular season matches. Dating back to the beginning of June, RSL has gone unbeaten in 10 or more straight matches in a single regular season 3 times before, but not since opening the 2014 campaign. Unbeaten in 12 straight. I remember that. That was fun.
This next one's my favorite one.
Ricky Puig has recorded an assist in 4 straight MLS matches for the Galaxy. The only 3 players in club history to register an assist in 5 straight regular season matches are Christian Pavón, 7 straight in 2019, Robbie Keane, 5 in 2014, and Mauricio Cienfuegos, 5 in 97-98. There you go.
Yeah, the reason why that one's my favorite is because when you think about where does Puig land in the Galaxy hierarchy, and the impact that he's had on this team, you see Christian Pavón, Robbie Keane, Mauricio Cienfuegos. That company, that's the level of, we're talking about etched in the mountain. That's, the level of contribution that Ricky Puig gives to this team. So that checks out given how we've seen him play.
Right. And I would say this isn't the last time that you'll see Ricky Puig's name in a sort of history sort of way in the best of the LA Galaxy. It just feels like he's destined for some of that. Just to let you know, Brian Vieira, is it Brian? Yeah, Brian Vieira suspended on yellow card accumulation against the LA Galaxy for Real Salt Lake. The players on yellow card watch, Javier Hernandez, I don't think he has to worry about it. I think he's good. Are
they just going to show that all season? Doesn't it clear after a certain amount?
Yeah, it may not, because it may have already been forgiven once, and once you're forgiven...
He's missed a lot of games to still be on that list,
so Javier Hernandez is on yellow card watch. Julian Alde is on yellow card watch. Raheem Edwards on yellow card watch, and Ricky Puig on yellow card watch, okay?
All right. Nice knowing you, Raheem.
Yeah.
Well, set the next game
Ricky
out.
Puig, though. I mean, come on. That's the one that you got to worry about, because that kid gets a little fired up sometimes. Just 24 wins, 13 draws, 20 wins for RSL. So 24 wins for the Galaxy, 13 draws between the two teams. RSL has 20 wins. We talked about the back-to-back 3-2s and all that fun stuff. Let's get to 538 and what 538 says about this particular one. Eric, by the way, I looked at the next two matches because I was bored, and I would just like to say, wow. So
yeah. So couple side notes about 538. First, just in the general standings, and I know you don't have this graphic up there, the 538 has the Galaxy finishing second to last by the end of the season, so projected, not looking good, and they have them at 38 points. So that means in these last 12-game stretch, they have them at plus 16. So you think 16 points out of 12 games, that feels right about on track.
16 out of 36 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which you think about splitting points, that kind of checks out with how the Galaxy have been playing. If you're thinking playoffs, and I know what you're saying, playoffs, we're talking about playoffs. The target number is about 43. So that would mean the Galaxy need 21 more points. So when you think about 12 games, 36 possible points, 21 out of those 36, that is a tall order. That is a large Alberto's burrito to scarf down. And I don't know. It just makes you say,
okay,
yikes, when you look at that.
Can I make you feel better?
Yeah.
21 of 36 points is less than 60% of the points. Okay, so that's
I don't know. That makes me feel better.
To me, it makes me feel like it's like you don't need 80% of the points. You need less than 60. In fact, it's have you?
They're not must wins. They're can't loses. Are we getting into that territory?
Have you seen the TikTok that comes out of I think in Australia where they do girl math?
Math, yeah. It's basically free, right? And I feel like we need to do LA Galaxy math right now. And so, like when you think about it, right, the 60% or less than 60%. It's really closer whenever it's almost 50%, and 50% is a coin flip. And if you're talking, I mean, anybody can win a coin flip, right? So it's basically what I'm trying to say is the playoffs are basically locked in already, right? That's what I'm saying. That's LA Galaxy math, all right? And so, if you haven't checked out girl math on TikTok, dude, it's Australian so radio. Funny. It's great times.
They did
Taylor Swift one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Taylor Swift one was the one that got me.
Good stuff.
I showed it. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna have to start doing LA Galaxy math in this.
So to 538, to your point, to the graphic, and why Josh was worried, and why you should be worried, and why we're all a little bit puckered here, is that the LA Galaxy are at a 56% chance to win. RSL with a 20% chance to win, and then a 24% chance for a draw. The reason why we hate that is whenever the Galaxy are one of the highest percentage teams to win, it always goes spectacularly wrong, and they're tied for the second highest win percentage, only to be outdone by Philadelphia hosting Dallas and then NYC hosting Minnesota. If you go to Bovada, the betting odds a little closer together here, but still kind of weird odds. The Galaxy at plus 115, RSL at plus 205. So the Galaxy still favorites there, but maybe not at a 56% clip. So Galaxy are favorites here. Maybe they're looking at U.S. Open Cup. Maybe there's the weather's going to be a factor. Maybe all the pickups, they're valuing those. So it looks like this is, if the Galaxy are going to go on a home stretch, this would be a great way to kick it off and get it going.
I looked at. Did you look at the next game? Do you have it up?
I don't have the next one up.
Okay, I will tell you from my memory, what I saw. So the LA Galaxy hosts Real Salt Lake, and then next week they host Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the same things. Chicago, if you're talking Chicago and Real Salt Lake in terms of which team is better and like all that stuff, you're going to say Real Salt Lake is much better than I see. Okay. The thing that is crazy to me is that the LA Galaxy are favored 56% in the RSL game. They're favored 54% in the Chicago game. So technically, they think that Chicago is the tougher team out of the. I don't know. It makes sense.
Yeah, and then the travel from east to west. Yeah, that's always, it's not as bad as west to east, but whenever there's East Coast team traveling, you have to factor that in. Usually doesn't end well. You saw what happened with Philadelphia coming to play the LA Galaxy. As good of a team as they are, something about that travel and that away game makes it tricky. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe there's a win streak in the cards here. Oh, are you giving me hope?
No,
do we have hope.
No. I listen. I've been very hopeful. I've been waiting for things to click. I've been waiting with the third season-ending injury. I lost a lot of that. I was like, okay, Gaston Brugman is one of the most important parts of the team, and he's not going to play. And I don't care who you have out there. it's going to be difficult to I think get everybody together on the same page. So
the one that broke me was the Leagues Cup exit, because as bad as the season was going, I thought maybe you could make a Leagues Cup run and kind of have something fun to happen in the tournament, and just not only the loss, but the way they lost in the final minutes. I think that's what broke me this LA Galaxy season.
Yeah, it feels very, very, yeah, it's not great. All right, predictions guaranteed to be wrong. The LA Galaxy hosting Real Salt Lake coming up on Sunday, 7:30, 7:39 is your kickoff time. Eric, what do you have the score for this game, please?
Remember, LA Galaxy math, guaranteed to be wrong. I until they start going on a streak and showing me better, I can't choose a win. So I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. I'm not going to say they lose,
right?
But I can't see this team winning. I need to see the new pieces go. So I'm going to call it a 2-2 draw.
Here we go. I'm going to tell you exactly how it always goes. It's 1-1. It's in the 90th minute. The ball literally floats across the line with the amount of water that is out there. I actually think there's a better chance of this game not being played than there is of the LA Galaxy winning the game. Yeah. And so having said all that, with all that said, 2-1 win for the Galaxy, obviously. I mean,
there you go.
You know, why not?
I like it.
Why not? I just make this stuff as like, for some reason, I feel like they still believe. And as long as they still believe, and with the new guys and the break and everything that sort of happened, maybe, why not? You know, stupider things have happened. This is Major League Soccer. Difference of the best team in Major League Soccer and the worst team in Major League Soccer apparently is just Messi, Jordi Alba, and
well, you also say that like it's a throwaway, like just Messi and
need
Busquets.
Messi. And Busquets, and Jordi
just
Alba,
dropping dimes, making it look easy. Yeah,
that's it.
So
that's it. So
no big deal.
Not a problem. All right. By the way, $10 super chat from Lasso's Optimism. Looking forward to seeing how the new LA Galaxy reboot this weekend. Great to see Eric again. He spelled it with a C. Glad I made it back in time for the show. Back to school night. Remember those, Eric? Thanks again, guys. So do you remember back to school night?
I do remember back to school night. You know, the excitement in the air, the nerves. Something about back to school night. I do miss it, believe it or not.
Really? I was never a fan. As a student, I was never a fan of back to school. I haven't really done it yet as an adult.
It's the Vin Scully about the baseball, you know, hope springs eternal, like within the you don't know what's going to happen this year. Maybe it's going to be a good batch.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. A lot, you know, this could be the best year of their lives and my career. So there's always that little bit of hope that you have at the
then it's just like the LA Galaxy, 3 months in and you're already out of the league, right?
Oh yeah, and then you get the kid who throws a mechanical pencil at another kid's ear, and then it's all over. Goes sideways.
Yep.
We did have a super chat that we missed.
Oh, did we?
To go back
I'm sorry.
Philip,
please. Yes.
Did have, you know, he said, Eric, I live on Eric Avenue in Cerritos, and I really need to look at this carefully because I'm a Cerritos native. That's my hometown. I know exactly where that is.
Right. Oh, you do?
So I'm not gonna out Philip.
You've stolen. You've stolen that sign.
If you know where the Cerritos Mall is, you know you're in Philip's neck of the woods. So maybe I'll have to go and challenge you to a duel at Liberty Park, Philip, and we'll get going. We'll fight for that street sign. For Eric Avenue and Cerritos, because that's my thing. I know exactly where that is.
You know what Eric Zavaleta can't say? He can't say that he has a street sign with his name on it. That's what he said.
No,
he doesn't.
Not spelled that way.
Yeah, not spelled that way. Eric Zavaleta. Whatever, Eric Zavaleta.
All right, okay, I had something and I let it. I let it
go.
All right.
Okay, good. Anything else, bud? You good?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, let's get on out of here. Tell people where they can find you.
All right, as always, you can find me on everything at HammerEV9 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, Threads still a thing. So at HammerEV and the number 9.
If you're looking for me on Twitter, at Jay Guesman, of course, at Galaxy Podcast, at Galaxy Podcast on Threads, cornerofthegalaxy.com. That's where you can find all our stuff. LA Galaxy taking on Real Salt Lake coming up on Sunday night, as long as a hurricane doesn't wash it all the way. And why wouldn't it? That's what this season is anyway. Usually LA Galaxy do good in the rain, right? Maybe it's some good luck. We'll see. Be safe. Be kind to each other. We will catch everybody back here on a Monday night. So, LA Galaxy, Real Salt Lake coming up on Sunday. Podcast on Monday. For Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira, I'm Josh Pato Guesman. You've been listening. You've been watching to our little Corner of the Galaxy. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. Fans, we thank you for listening, and we ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo. And on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.